As the sun sets over the untouched landscape of the Old West, a name stands out as the embodiment of absolute law and order. It was Fred White, the legendary lawman who earned the respect and admiration of both fellow attorneys and notorious criminals. Yet despite his enormous contribution to justice, Fred White's story is more than just triumph, for it was a fateful meeting with notorious criminal Curly Bill Brocius that Fred White met his own tragic end. Join us, delving into the legendary life of Fred White, as well as the dramatic events that will ultimately determine his fate in the pages of Old West history. Remember to hit the like button because it helps us a lot. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and press the notification bell to not miss the upcoming interesting videos. According to the 1880 census, Frederick G. White was born in New York City in 1849. He was a prominent attorney and first town sheriff of the prosperous mining town of Tombstone, Arizona Territory. On January 6, 1880, White was elected to the position of sheriff. At the time, Tombstone was still an emerging border town with less than 1,000 residents. Crime is rampant and people are living in fear. But White was determined to change all that. Fred White formed an alliance in close friendship with Wyatt Earp, who was then the deputy sheriff of the southern part of Pima County, including Tombstone. White quickly established himself as a professional and likable lawman, respected by everyone, including the notorious cowboys. White has never been a corrupt sheriff. He only uses force when necessary, and has the support of the other cowboys in doing so. White is particularly close to Curly Bill Brocius, and the two often talk to each other. Unlike other city employees, including Earp and his siblings, who own or partially own many of the town's businesses, White has no personal stake in any such business. Instead, he just focuses on his duties as a field marshal and handles the pay and bonuses fairly. White's lack of personal investment in the town's businesses have made him a humble figure in the complex web of business, personal, and political rivalries, which made Tombstone's development difficult at the time. Fred White is respected by the town as a whole and treats everyone fairly. The fateful night of October 27, 1880, was marked by drunken members of the infamous Cowboys ravaging Tombstone's Allen Street, firing indiscriminately in all directions. In response to the disturbance, Fred White and Deputy Sheriff Wyatt Earp rushed to the scene. They found Curly Bill Brocius and his teammates shooting guns in an open field near the Birdcage Theater. White calmly ordered the men to surrender their weapons, and they all obeyed, except for the drunken Brocius, who hesitantly handed his pistol to the marshal. Suddenly, chaos broke out as White grabbed the barrel of Brocius's pistol and the gun exploded, firing at White. It is unclear exactly what happened, but it is believed that the pistol's hammer was accidentally activated during the commotion. In agony, White fell to the ground, while an enraged Wyatt Earp began hitting Brocius with the pistol before catching him and sending him to jail. Morgan Earp also helped arrest other cowboys involved in the disturbance, accusing them of violating city regulations. After taking Brocius to his cell, Wyatt vowed to sue him for assault with intent to kill. Although the event is often depicted with the Clanton brothers and McLaury, the next day's newspaper made no mention of their involvement. At the time, Fred White was on the verge of death, receiving the best medical care available at the time. The rioters who caused the chaos the night before were brought before a judge and fined for breaking city rules. Despite the severity of White's injuries, there is still hope for his recovery. However, tensions are high and a mob is forming with the intention of punishing Curly Bill Brocius for injuring the respected field marshal. Fearing for his safety, Brocius demanded to be taken to Tucson for protection. Wyatt Earp and George Collins were assigned to escort Brocius, and they left town with Virgil and Morgan Earp in support. Sadly, Marshal White's condition continued to deteriorate, and he passed away on October 30th. People held a grand funeral for him and buried him at the famous Boothill Cemetery in Tombstone. The loss of such a respected figure is a tragedy, and his death marks the end of an era in Tombstone history. Curly Bill Brocius is said to have deeply regretted shooting White, with whom he spoke frequently. Brocius asserts it was an accident. White's testimony before his death and Wyatt Earp's both supported his claims during the trial. In the end, the judge ruled it was a tragic accident, and Brocius was acquitted of any wrongdoing. Although Brocius was cleared of all charges, he could not forgive Wyatt Earp for hitting himself with a pistol. This animosity is just one of many factors contributing to the escalating conflict between the two factions. After the death of old man Newton Clanton, Brocius became the leader of the Clanton gang, and his thirst for revenge grew after the infamous gunfight at the OK Corral. After the gunfight, Brocius attempted to take the lives of Virgil and Morgan Earp. His revenge against the Earps eventually led to a sad ending. Wyatt Earp, seeking revenge for the death of his brother Morgan, hunted down Brocius. On March 24, 1882, with a shotgun blast to the chest, Curly Bill Brocius's infamous life ended. Boothill is the name that has become familiar as the final resting place of those who met a violent end. The term was commonly used during the early 20th century in the western United States to refer to the burial places of gunmen and notorious outlaws. However, the most famous Boothill is the Boothill Graveyard in Tombstone, Arizona. Originally known as Tombstone Cemetery, this is where Billy Clanton, Frank McLaury, and Tom McLaury are buried, the three men killed in the infamous OK Corral gunfight. Located in the northwest corner of town, the cemetery is said to contain the remains of more than 300 people, 205 of which are marked graves. However, due to poor record keeping and some burials carried out undocumented, the actual number of people buried there is unknown. The Jewish cemetery located nearby has several restored markers and also other graves of notable Western figures. Undoubtedly, the tombstones have been damaged over the years due to neglect and theft of souvenirs. In fact, former Tombstone Mayor John Clume was unable to find the grave of his wife Mary when he visited the cemetery in 1929 for an early El Dorado celebration. Boothill Cemetery was closed in late 1886 when the new City Cemetery on Allen Street opened. Since then, the site has been called the Old City Cemetery and has been abandoned. Some time later, a man named Emmett Crook Nunnally spent much time restoring the graveyard. Thanks to his dedication, the Boothill Graveyard is now open to the public for a fee of $5 and is a popular tourist attraction in Tombstone. The Boothill Museum is located on the original site of the Boothill Cemetery in Dodge City, Kansas. Boothill Cemetery has made its way into popular culture, becoming popular in movies, TV shows, and literature. One of the most notable films is the TV series Gunsmoke, where Sheriff Matt Dillon often refers to getting you into Boothill. Boothill also appears in the opening scene of this TV series, where Matt Dillon can be seen walking around the cemetery, contemplating the lives of those buried there. A fairly well-known movie about Boothill is in The Twilight Zone episode Mr. Garrity in the Graves, where the cemetery is a major plot point. The episode explores the idea of people faking their deaths to take advantage of the town's superstition and make money from grieving residents. Boothill graveyards also appeared in classic Western films such as Tombstone, 1993, Wyatt Earp, 1994, The Magnificent Seven, and Gunfight at the OK Corral. In the lyrics of the movie Gunfight at the OK Corral, Frankie sings inspirationally, "Boothill, Booth, so cold, so quiet. There they lay, side by side. The killers are dead in the gunfight at the OK Corral." Please like and share if you find the video content interesting and useful. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and comment below so as not to miss the upcoming interesting videos. Thanks for watching.